Meetings. You can't have a team without getting together. Why do teams have meetings? But don't meet without a reason. What should we do in meetings? But don't meet just to read information to people. Teams cannot exist without meetings, be they formal or informal. Technically, any gathering of 2 or more people is a meeting. When we think of meetings, however, we tend to think of formal scheduled events that take place. We also waste a lot of time in the informal meetings we are part of each day. More often than not, meeting time is wasted when the meeting is used for only information sharing or when it does not stay on track. In this day and age, it's easy to read information related to a project online or related to a focus team effort online, and then come to the meeting and further enhance our understanding or how we're going to use that information. Remember the example we talked about earlier. When you invest 8 people hours in a 1-hour event instead of just 1 person hour, you better get 8 times more value out of that investment. In general, and especially when the opportunity for giving feedback is limited, information sharing is better accomplished through email, text, memos, bulletin boards, SharePoint postings, newsletters, Microsoft Teams, other types of collaboration software. Information is only a value-added meeting activity when we want to get feedback to help clarify the information as it's being sent or received, or when the emotion behind the written word needs to be expressed. Meetings can also get off track very easily. If you can picture a clock counting down in your head while you're in a meeting, try to estimate the percent of meeting time that's wasted when a meeting begins to go off track. How many minutes did we just lose on that tangent? In a 1-hour meeting, it's not uncommon for 2 or 3 significant tangents to occur, with each tangent lasting 5 to 7 minutes. Some digression's unavoidable, but we usually fail to catch it in time. Point out that it's just occurred and make efforts to keep it from happening again. Remember process checks. Does everybody realize what just happened at our meeting? We just went off track for 2 or 3 minutes and no one caught it. If you want to save a lot of time, try taking 1 or more of these 3 actions in your next meeting. Catch it when it happens. Recognize that as a group and make efforts to keep it from happening again. Map. Are we going where we want to go as a team? Plan projects through expected completion. How much is that map you just made for your project like the territory? Experiment with the meeting process mapping and reroute your map to avoid roadblocks. One key to meeting effectiveness is to have an idea of where you're going and what each meeting is intended to accomplish. Imagine trying to act out a play without a script, to coach a football game without a playbook. While such examples may sound ridiculous, that's how many people conduct meetings. They show up, cover what the leader wants to cover, and leave. There's no agenda ahead of time to let them know what they're going to cover. There's nothing to let them know how much time to devote to each item. And sadly, there's no deliverables mentioned to let them know if they accomplished what they were supposed to or not. Maps go bigger than that. Maps are needed in a larger sense to plan and track where a project's heading or where a focus team is heading. If a safety committee meets 12 times in a year, it shouldn't just be the same 12 boring, keep things the same stuff. What do we want to improve on? What do we want to get better at as a team? Where should the safety program be after the next 12 meetings we hold? There's plenty of tools in this training to help you do that. But maps also help make your vision tangible, and maps give you a means for assessing team progress. Lastly, maps help you identify potential roadblocks before you encounter them, like resistance to change areas. And in turn, that gives you the chance to reroute around them or plan for them. Meeting and projects maps should also be tangible items. They should not just be available in your mind. Maps serve as teaching tools. They don't have to be fancy, but make them visible, make them tangible, make them diagrams. As you set an example for your team by using maps, future team leaders will hopefully be taught meeting and project management habits that they will practice when they assume their own leadership role in the future. And just a good timeline of where we want to go. What activities are we going to accomplish at the different points in time? What results would we like to realize at the different points in time? Creating a team charter is one way to map where your team is expected to go. Typically, a 1 or 2 page team charter defines 1, the purpose of the team, 2, the team's ground rules, 3, measures for gauging team effectiveness, 4, meeting frequency and duration, 5, team membership, and 6, expected team activities to achieve the team's goals. So those are the 6 items that often make up a team charter. If you have ever personally gotten lost because you didn't have a map, you can probably imagine how the lack of a defined charter might contribute to a team getting off track, or at a minimum taking more time than necessary to accomplish a given set of goals. How do your teams know if they're going in the right direction or not? Momentum. Making your team more value added. Build momentum with progress between meetings. Use learning as fuel. Maintain momentum with effective meetings. Explore how your team will grow in the future. Being able to create and build momentum within your team is especially important if you need to sustain team effectiveness over time. Such cases exist with work process teams, most focus teams, and project teams that stay together from project to project. Membership may change to some degree, but the momentum, good or bad, from the remaining team members typically absorbs the potential influence new members might have on team effectiveness. When you build momentum, your team becomes more effective with each project or workday that's completed. Now that assumes you're building positive momentum. The primary fuels of momentum are learning, good meeting and project management, and sound planning. Sound planning and project management help ensure that your team does something different each week instead of getting stuck at a particular phase of a project. Progress consistently occurs, which in turn creates a reinforcing loop of accomplishment. Project teams in particular are prone to bogging down if the implemented results of their work is all they see, as project completions often involve a longer-term line of sight. What are we accomplishing from meeting to meeting? Don't wait on the end goal to be our evidence of progress. If meetings are not productive from week to week, momentum is also difficult to maintain, let alone build. Team members will quickly lose enthusiasm if they do not feel that progress is being made. In many cases, it only takes 2 or 3 unproductive meetings for people to begin to react this way. Positive momentum will first disappear, followed by the buildup of negative momentum and a loss of engagement if actions are not taken to correct the problem. As positive team progress is made, people experience new tools and they learn more about themselves and others. Participating in the successful implementation of a project or work area improvement allows people to develop new skills that they will hopefully continue to use and teach others about. Methods. The tools of team effectiveness. Time-based agendas and minutes. Group dynamics. Team learning. Problem-solving skills. Meeting and project management skills. Team leadership and facilitation. Several of the tools listed here have already been touched on or will be covered later in this training. All too often, however, they're not used to their potential. Even the most basic ones, such as meeting minutes. For example, how many of your management team meetings are captured in published minutes? How often are time-based agendas used as meeting management process maps to help keep a given train on track? And with technology, it's so much easier to do these. We can record our meetings so much easier and post them and share them like podcasts. A variety of problem-solving tools exist for use by any type of team. I'm not going to take a lot of space here to explain each of them, but you should make a personal commitment to learning more about them. Begin with the 7 basic quality tools. Now, you can learn them on Wikipedia, but the Memory Jogger by Gold QPC still exists, and it's a great place to start. The internet is a great source to learn about the basics of using these tools, but you gotta practice them as well. So you can get textbook knowledge from the web, from books. Go out and practice the tools to see what it's like using them in real life. Reading more about the skills listed above or attending a class where they're explained in detail should only be seen as starting points. Practice is required to become proficient at the use of these tools. And now I'm at the point in my career, I can remember when I first learned about them, when I first started teaching them, talking about them, advocating their use, and then actually using them to the point to where I was an experienced user. And it's sad that it kind of occurred that way, but that's how it worked. Becoming a good facilitator happens only with practice and feedback from an experienced coach and your classes. A team will only learn more about the dynamics of their group if the team can develop the capability and confidence necessary to point out these dynamics when they occur, both good and bad. We are not taught how to be effective team members in most of the formal education arenas that exist. These skills must be learned in the workplace and in the meeting room. Thought should also be given to linking these skill needs to the different competency models and maps that exist for managers and supervisors across the organization. To what degree should having the ability to effectively lead a team-based process improvement effort be optional for formal leaders? When should you use a team? Not all projects require a team. You can involve others without using a formal team. A team should be used when you need to, 1, increase ownership in the project's development, which is almost always. 2, use the project as an opportunity to teach others. And 3, you need to get a lot done in a short amount of time and you've got super skilled people to help you out. In a given organization, only so many teams can be supported. We only have so many good team leaders, and our jobs are designed to only allow so much time for team-based work away from the value stream or away from supporting the value stream. Simply put, some projects don't require the use of a full-time team to get them implemented. An individual can do 70% of the work, and then we can have teams provide feedback for 30% of the project time. That said, too many organizations form way too many teams, way more than they can effectively support. And then after doing so, they sit there and wonder, why aren't our teams getting their projects and improvements in place more quickly? I've tried to write down the 3 main reasons for using a team here. And I've stated, however, there's ways that a lot of people can be consistently involved in process improvement without requiring them to go sit in a meeting room for an hour each week. And I think that's what we miss. We don't build the relationships. We don't go out and engage folks where they work. You can get ideas and opinions from people by going to their workplace and simply asking questions. When you bring them in the meeting room, it takes them out of their world once a month for general feedback, but you're going to get better information when you go to their world. It actually does not make much sense anyway to always follow the traditional team paradigm. Form a team and meet weekly as a group until the project's done. How can we fast track this? I mean, that's why the Kaizen teams became so successful. The solution to breaking this paradigm involves asking the question, what's the purpose for the actual team meeting? This is where most of the waste can occur. We bring people together and then we waste their time doing round robin report outs or by having one person read information to the rest of the group. Both of these types of involvement could have been accomplished offline using a well-designed internet site or even email attachments or texts or social media group. The true purpose of getting together should be to have dialogue about problems, to have dialogue about possible ideas, to learn more from collectively sharing our thoughts as a group, to develop relationships. A high percentage of project work is often individual in nature, collecting data, doing spreadsheet and cost analysis, creating project plans. Don't meet if you don't plan on involving a high percentage of the people in the room on a very frequent basis. Just be smart. When do we use individual time? When do we use team time? How can we get feedback from others without bringing them into the meeting room? I appreciate you taking the time to listen to Lesson 6. It is super important. Have a great day and keep improving.